All the Young Dudes by MsKingBean89, Chapter 22, Second Year, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Madame Pomfrey was horrified by the state of Remus's skinny, battered frame when he finally went to see her. "What has that woman been doing to you?" she gasped, angrily. "Oh, no, I did this all to myself," Remus gestured dryly at his bare chest. The nurse tuttered, peeling away another bandage. "Yes, but she's barely done anything to treat you. I had no idea Muggle medicine was so primitive. These are magical wounds and they need magical care." Remus nodded, tiredly. He'd grown used to the carnage now. The pain had settled on his shoulders like a heavy burden, one he thought he would probably just have to bear. Life was full of limitations. He simply had more than others. Perhaps that was why he was so drawn to James and Sirius. Madame Pomfrey wanted to observe him overnight, but he refused, grumpily. The full moon was 2 weeks away, and he wanted to sleep in his own bed as much as possible. He walked back to the common room, slowly, though he was feeling better than he had in a month. Madame Pomfrey had given him a potion that made him feel loose and comfortable, and pleasantly light-headed. There was no chance of a quiet afternoon, though, for when Remus reached the dormitory, he found Sirius sitting on his bed, the record player and brand new album spread out around him. "Lupin!" he beamed, excitedly. "You have to hear this." "Thank Merlin you're here," James groaned from his own bed, where he was flipping through a Quidditch magazine. "He's been banging on about that Muggle singer all summer." "He's not a Muggle," Sirius snapped, hands on his hips. "He has to be a wizard. Has to be. You should see the clothes he wears." Remus crossed the room and picked up the record sleeve. He smiled, mildly surprised. "Oh, Bowie. Yeah, I like him. I don't think he's a wizard, though." Sirius looked mildly disappointed that Remus had heard of him, and Remus hurriedly explained. "I've heard Starman a lot on the radio, but no one at St. Eddie's has the album." Placated, Sirius settled the black disc he was holding onto the turntable and fixed the needle in place. James sighed deeply and got up, leaving the room, magazine under his arm. Sirius ignored him, watching Remus's face eagerly as the slow drum beat began. Remus sat down on the edge of his bed and closed his eyes to listen. It wasn't the same as Electric Warrior. It was darker, moodier. Remus liked it a lot. There was a story in it, though he wasn't quite sure he understood all the parts yet. As the closing bars of Rock and Roll Suicide reverberated, Sirius lifted the needle and moved it back. "Listen to Suffragette City again. That's my favourite." Remus smiled. He could have guessed that. It was loud and rude, and you could dance to it.
But it's mellowed like chicks, just put my spine out of place.
For himself, he thought he liked Moon Age Daydream the best, because it was weird and spacey. Or Lady Stardust, because for some reason it reminded him of Sirius.
His long black hair, his animal grace, the boy in the bright blue jeans.
Remus quickly dismissed that thought. Sure, Sirius would find it hysterically funny. Once they played the album all the way through again, and then replayed their favourites, it was almost dinner time. They sat cross-legged together on the bed, poring over some of the album notes. "Maybe he is a wizard," Remus conceded dreamily. "He's not like a normal Muggle." "Told you," Sirius smirked triumphantly. "I'm going to get more too, all of his albums." "T-Rex had a new one," Remus said. "Slider. Cool. I wish Mrs. Potter had let us leave Diagon Alley. I even got some Muggle money from Gringotts." "What is Diagon Alley?" Remus asked, though he thought he had some idea from the summer letters. Sirius's eyes widened, as they always did when Remus demonstrated his shocking lack of wizarding knowledge. "Bloody hell, Lupin," he tuttered. "It's a wizard street in London. Muggles can't get in. Like Hogsmeade." "Oh, right." It didn't sound that exciting to Remus. Shopping was boring. "Where do you get all your stuff?" "What stuff?" "School stuff. Your books, your robes." Sirius's eyes darted to the fraying cuffs of Remus's black school robes. His own were brand new and immaculately finished and cut slightly better than everyone else's. "Second hand, I think," Remus replied. "Dumbledore sends them." So now I'd get into Wizard Street. I'm not allowed into London alone. Next summer, Sirius said, firmly. You have to come to James's place and stay. We can take you to Diagon Alley. You'll love it. You know I can't, Remus said, quietly, not making eye contact. We'll sort it, Sirius said with confidence. Talk to Dumbledore, McGonagall, the Minister for Magic if we have to. Remus forced a smile, pretending that he believed Sirius. Yeah, great. Thanks, Black. The rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars became the soundtrack to the Gryffindor boys' dormitory for the next week, until even James, who was tone-deaf, found himself humming along. Remus had never felt so satisfied and at ease in his entire life. He was away from St. Edmund's, away from grey shirts and matron and locked rooms and troubled boys who wanted to get him. He wasn't covered in bandages, at least for the moment, and until lessons began on Monday, he had all the time he wanted to read, listen to music, and muck about with the Marauders. He spent most of the time catching up on his reading and completing the summer homework they'd been set. Like a starving man, he devoured every piece of information presented to him, and even went to get more books from the library to investigate further. He also had to have a number of conversations with James before he could convince him that he had no desire to be on the Gryffindor Quidditch team. Remus was content to sit in the stalls with his book, occasionally glancing up to watch the other three boys flitting back and forth on their brooms. They were all very good, but it was very obvious even to Remus that James was the best of all three. He didn't even look like he needed the broom. The black-haired boy soared like a kestrel, his turns smooth, his dives nauseatingly sharp. Remus hadn't attended many Quidditch matches in his first year, but he felt sure that James would earn a place on the team. Sirius was much showier in his flying technique. He didn't lack James's skill so much as his discipline. Black appeared to get bored easily. He could go quite fast when he wanted to, but was more interested in looping and swerving dangerously than catching quaffles or repelling bulleters. He needed James to shout at him every few minutes to keep focused on the game. Peter was very competent after a summer of drills, but he was quite slow over long distances. James decided he might be better off as a keeper. You're acting as if you get to handpick the whole team, Sirius softed as they headed back to the castle after one practice. They ought to let me, James shrugged, as if it was obvious. I'm better than at least half the current team, and you're better than both beaters. And I know tactics. Just try not to be too shocked when they don't make you captain. Sirius rolled his eyes. You're still at second year. There weren't any second years on the team at all last year. Have some faith, Black, James winked, throwing an arm over his friend's shoulder. They strode ahead together, brooms in hand. The sun was setting behind them and threw everyone into a sharp relief, outlining the two dark-haired boys in heroic gold. Remus watched them, lagging behind and weighed down by his books, thinking that they would probably be all a little bit surprised if James didn't get exactly what he wanted.